Well, hello everyone, welcome back to another video of some F1 2020 career mode with Red Bull. Today we're doing episode number 28 for the Belgian Grand Prix of Season 2, round number 12. Now first of all, before we begin today's episode, this is the last week where there's going to be two career mode videos, or driver career mode videos. I think that the hype sort of is mostly gone, and this week's video as well, 1.08, I should point out. So the new McLaren and other cars will be debuting on next week's videos, although we might sneak in something on Friday, but that ultimately depends on what happens as well. I've also got to try and get some game ideas put in at some point, or that probably will be next week now as well, instead of probably replacing the second career mode video in the week, and then we'll have some other stuff as well. But yes, we finally have enough resource points to do this energy store upgrade. The energy store wear has been terrible on this car, so we're going to try and fit it in. It won't be coming in for this episode, but it might come in for the Italian Grand Prix. It doesn't really matter anyway, as long as we get it on the car. It's more something for next season, because this season we should be fine. It's just really going to be all about next season, whether or not we can have the durability to not have to take that extra engine components. Yes, also taking a look at the engine side, but I feel that where this car still lacks aero and maybe a little bit of sashi, I know, because obviously we've got to focus on the aero to balance that with the engine upgrades that we're going to be making, and the energy store upgrade actually comes in for this episode, not next episode, which is good. We've only got the MGU-K, is that? Yep, MGU-K, that is the remaining one there, so we'll try and fit that in before the end of the season, although, well, it'll probably come. We'll try and fit that in the off season, and we'll try and focus more on the other thing. We are still the worst team for durability, so I don't know. A durability reset on the R&D would do us great, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any durability resets at all, or any R&D reset going from season 2 to season 3. So we'll have to wait until the end of season 3. We also took a look at a rear downforce, but we have 5 R&D points short for that, so I'll have to wait until the next episode before we potentially look at that. Racing Point, though, have made the team that is moved up in terms of the midfield ahead of AlphaTauri and Renault. Alfa Romeo and McLaren are sort of very close there, as well, as we look to extend our lead over Mercedes, although judging by our performance recently, especially in qualifying, where we're just struggling compared to the AI on our level of 98, as the tyres are getting to put on as we're coming through the bus stop chicane. This is our fastest lap in qualifying. Across the start finish line we go now, and we're slightly down on not the best exit out the final corner, but then of course we come through turn 1, we take a slightly wider line, but it gives us a slightly better exit. We do lose time going through, then we start to gain a bit of time for Eau Rouge, and then it's sort of not really 300s up on our previous time. It really isn't where we want to be. We're stuck down in 17th place as well, so this has been an absolutely woeful qualifying as usual. Once again having to do the John Watson style top gear from the rear. We're coming through the middle sector now. The corner, one of these corners hasn't got a name, I can't remember which one it is, but we're starting to gain time. This is where of course the car will be fastest. I'm not 100% on the setup. I think it's mostly there. I think it just needs maybe a little bit of tweaking here and there to match where the car is compared to where I want it to be. But on the default, it felt fine. It's funny, this it feels absolutely fine on the default Red Bull car, because I go and do the time trial and set the lap and then do that, and then I come into practice and it doesn't feel as fast. So I'm not quite sure whether the balance is upset on this car, whether there's too much chassis or upgrades and there should be some more drag reduction upgrades or aero upgrades. I'm not entirely sure. But across the line, well, I thought we were doing quite well. We're improved by 6/10 and it's just enough for P16. Only the Haas and the Williams, our teammates up in third. Honestly think we need to start having a lower difficulty for qualifying. That's something. We were quite a way off the top 10 as well, 4/10, so I'm going to have to go out to the drawing board for that, potentially for season 3 as well, because they clearly, even in the latest patch, they still haven't patched qualifying, so.
We're in Belgium once again for today's round of the Formula 1 World Championship. It's a race the great Ayrton Senna won 6 times, and in 2019 Charles Leclerc became the first driver to take their maiden win here since Michael Schumacher in 1992. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track is a great one for fans of pure speed. The average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles an hour. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Can we talk about Mercedes? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Ocon, Lewis Hamilton and Ricciardo, Stroll, Gasly, Russell and Lando Norris, Perez, Sainz, Alexander Albon and Magnussen, Giovinazzi and a Red Bull, Max Verstappen and Nick de Vries, Kvyat and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Wish Jeff wouldn't keep saying that message. I mean, it's like no heroics into Sandoval on F1 2019. We've heard it so many times, it's really not what we want to hear. But yes, looking at the strategy, we're once again going to try the medium to softs strategy that nobody else is trying, because it's a 25% race. So as 5 lights go out and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. And it's a better start than the Alpha Tauri in front of us, but Verstappen there has a great start, tries and down. We have to get out of the way and we dive it down the inside, and we've been given the space by, I think that's Gasly in the other Alpha Tauri. We're going to try and go side by side for a Rouge, but we have to lift off, otherwise we'd have ended up in the tyre barrier and out of the race. So now I got the 2 racing points as well, having a look at us as well, as we're looking at Esteban Ocon. He's had a great start up into P2, ahead of the Mercedes as well. Ferrari look very strong here as well, even though the Mercedes, I think they technically have the fastest engine. They're still not there, as we're watching now ourselves and the battle behind us between the 2 racing points, with Stroll and Perez having a big battle between the tyre, and this battling is playing into our hands as we're opened a small little gap as we get to Pouon there, as Stroll tries to go around the outside of Perez into Pouon, but Perez not having it. So yes, that sort of sets up to open a 2-second gap over the racing points, which is, that's good to see. We do have a little bit of pace, but the pace on the mediums wasn't that great compared to the guys in front. Like Gasly was moving away from us, so I think that if they hadn't been cancelled, we get slightly held in the pits, not too much of an issue. If they hadn't been fighting, then they probably would have overtaken us. So definitely something to work on with the engine. Obviously, we do have the second slowest engine on the grid, but we will be looking at as Gasly. That is Gasly out of the race of the Belgian Grand Prix with an engine failure, smoking away, and that brings out the safety car. And I was thinking, oh, but my heart was in my mouth here, because I thought, oh, this is it. We're going to be like 17th place. Fortunately, no, it's 7th place, so we have moved up. We haven't actually lost any positions because of the safety car. Sights though moving up, but here is a safety car. It's a rare sight this season, compared to season 1 where it was out all the time. I'm not sure if it's been slightly patched by Codemasters and then they've sort of failed really. The way the AI go out anyway with engine failures is really not what we want. We want to see them make mistakes and have crashes like we did at Magello at the weekend, and not really have this dull, oh, there's Gasly, he had an engine failure. We might have a little bit of modding for that for season 3. Fortunately, we are on PC. So have a look around the outside of Daniel Ricciardo into turn 1. Nothing doing there, and I think Ricciardo's got the pace. The Renault is one of the fastest in a straight line. We have the slowest car in a straight line, which means that we're just going to be a sitting duck, and Ricciardo really managed to move away. So this definitely means that we need to work on aero and engine speed, because obviously our straight line speed is just not being good enough, and we cannot do what the Mercedes do, and therefore the car really isn't operating in my preference window. As we watch Albon stream past Stroll with DRS, and he's up into 9th place, so it's not been a bad recovery for Albon. He did get a penalty. He had a grid penalty from qualifying, so yes, as Sainz really didn't look quite close enough. We used all the ERS on the Kemmel straight, so we were lucky, but I will definitely it's a good 9 positions we gained today. Yes, the pace isn't quite there, and that's probably something to do with the fact that we have the slowest engine, but nevertheless it's 6 points on the board. It could have been a whole lot worse, but it should have been a lot better. I mean, we were, especially the fact that Leclerc was on 1.5 seconds fast at his personal best. I mean, yes, I don't set fastest laps, but we should be up there nevertheless, probably around the Mercedes Renault mark as well. So obviously something to comfort is that Albon his fastest lap was only 0.3 faster, so I know that the AI for race pace is good being at 98. We just need to nail the qualifying, really. But in terms of the drivers' standings, we've lost another position, so we've gone from being leading the Austrian Grand Prix, and all of a sudden we've sort of bottled it and now 46 points behind. So we could do with another another run where we were having the podium, and this is sort of a mediocre run now where the car isn't really performing great. We've got Italy next, and I can tell you that it's not going to get any better there. Our engine is a little bit like what Ferrari's is in real life, just doesn't have any pace really. But the corners, I think, is there. Maybe a bit more sassy, I don't know. Definitely aero upgrades to help with the engine, with more engine power as well. We're over 100 points now as well behind Ferrari, so it's definitely not going to be RU in the constructors as well. So yes, we're going to have to move on. We'll see if, well, I will try and retain myself at Red Bull, but we might get fired. We'll have to wait and see. I haven't got that far yet.
Performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. It's looking like the championship is already won. Do you think there's still time for this to change?
46 points with 4 rounds to go. it's not for us,
Did you
but I
struggle to
hope
get through all
that
that
somebody
traffic
can
today?
challenge the clerk. Well, we dived down the inside and really was able to do it. We did struggle with engine straight line speed, so
Was today a good day for you?
I would say compared to where we were in qualifying, yes, we're happy. I'm definitely happy with that. Qualifying is definitely the
What
disappointment
was the
here.
secret ingredient for your performance today?
Well, we need to praise one department, so yeah, well, praise durability, because durability hasn't been an issue
Appreciate
for
your
us. I mean, yes, we've had the energy store, but apart from that, we've managed it well. We've had to use one extra unit, but we were going to do that anyway, and we did it to great effect at France. So, and since then, we've got enough units to last. Probably go and do some more upgrades, but looking on the engine side, I'm definitely now going. It's got this weird thing. I don't know why there's no link between the two engine power minor upgrades. It's really weird. I'm hoping that Codemaster can sort that out. So we'll probably take a look at that, and then that will come in for later rounds. Maybe the United States, hopefully, or Brazil, where we'll need that engine. Well, we'll have the ERS first, and then there'll be the engine power. So we'll try and get that in for the end of the season. But yes, I'm going to leave it there. If you have enjoyed this video, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and you see more episodes of the F1 2020 career mode as they come out. The next one will come out tomorrow night, and then that will be it for this week, and then that will be then down to one episode per week from then. But until the next video, take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.